Okay, welcome to the OS2 2.1 installation video. So here I'm showing the A drive there. It has the OS2 2.1 install disk, and D has the Windows 3.1 install. And this is just a Windows 3.1, a basic Windows 3.1 install with just nothing set up, just a pure Windows 3.1 install before I do the OS2 2.1. Because this OS2 2.1 requires Windows 3.1 to be installed prior if you want to have Windows support. I tried to do Windows support after the fact, and it was nothing was working very well. So the best bet is to actually just install Windows 3.1 first, and then install OS2 2.1 afterwards, and let it detect it. If you don't need Windows support, then don't install it. But if you want to have Windows support in your OS2 2.1, then you'll have to. Unfortunately, that also means if you do Windows 3.1 before the installation, your file system will have to be fat. As you can see here, here's the special edition document intro thing that talks about it already being installed. And the only thing is that you'll have to use the FAT. You won't be able to format the disk as HPFS, and you'll have to keep the disk as FAT. But that's not too much of a problem. HPFS is overrated anyways, and has its own fair share of issues. And this is all done doing fast forwarding. So we'll just go through all of this quickly with the fast forwarding option. It fast forwards it down to 5 minutes. It took a very long time to get this all going. So I apologize again for the delay. On this, I didn't expect 2.1 to have its own quirks, but I guess it did. So here, I was trying to get the video adapter to go properly. I got it working like once. And also make sure you switch your keyboard and country settings here, because during one test I did not, and then my slash key was set to UK keyboard. And also notice that the CD-ROM there, I have it selected in the file as the 641. So I tried to select it. In the other CDU here from the menu, and yeah, I didn't like it. So it automatically detects the 6111. So use the 6111. Don't change it. And the Adaptec SCSI adapter kind of works, but I don't know if there's an issue with 86 box, or if it's a bug with the OS2. Because after the install is complete, you'll see a nice error message, which I kept in this fast forwarded video, that actually shows it. So you'll have if you don't do a hard restart of your machine, you will always get an AHA error every time for the SCSI adapter, and it'll cause problems. So always do a hard load of the system. I'm curious if the transcore SCSI drivers actually work, but here you'll see the error right here. So you'll get this error. Actually, is it on this one? No, I think it's the final boot, I think. Or no, it should be this one, right? Yep, there it is. There's the AHA error. So then just give it a hard reset. So once you give it a hard reset, and just close 86 box entirely and reopen it, and you'll get everything working. You'll get your CD-ROM drive, as you can see there. But you'll also notice the video adapter didn't go right. So just go into the system settings again, and just select your video adapter, and then go through this process. This is why I have it fast forwarded, because this is so tedious. I can't wait to get to 3 and 4, because I can actually use CD-ROMs, and I don't have to actually create so much edited footage like this just to make it work. So the future versions, and for OS2.3, you're actually going to see the actual installation going live rather than fast forwarded like this. So only for these two ones, it's fast forwarded just because of the length of the installation. Like, I had to fast forward this so much just to fit it all quickly in this video without making this video an hour long. Like, these are, and now I got the full resolution, as you can see. So it's going to continue here, and then you have to install the multimedia stuff afterwards. Unlike 3 and 4 and other versions of Windows, you usually get the multimedia packages installed with the system itself. Here you have to install it separately. It's in the disk set. It's just the MMPM files. Go in there and you'll see the minstall.exe, and just follow the directions, and you should be able to install the audio adapter for the system, which takes a little bit of time, as you can see here. Like, this is fast forwarded. This is fast forwarded. It's ridiculous. And make sure you select the IRQ correctly, but the 86 box config will be in the description, so you will be able to see that there. So, and then now we're going to do the install for Windows 3.1 here, because when you install the multimedia adapters, it doesn't install 3.1. And you have to use the 1.5. If you do use the 1.0, it will kind of just let you know, as you can see here. It says use 1.5, but funny enough, if you use the 1.5, it just says, oh, you need to get a new driver from Creative. And then after that, everything's installed. And then we have audio and everything now working. And now let's get to the actual video. So here's System Manager here, as you guys saw in the previous video if you guys were around. So this one here, so you can see I have quite a few more tests here. I was testing the Win setup test, which only works on OS 2.3. Win setup, yeah, like Mail 2 only works on 3, it seems. So yep, and as you can see here, the printer uses IRQ7, so you have to make sure you put Sound Blaster in IRQ5, like I wrote all my notes down here. And this one here, I do believe it's so it's similar. After some testing, I tried to do this one as well, but this one only works on apparently 2.0. So I'm thinking of creating a video with this one here. There's one called OS2 Win that seems kind of neat to test out, so I wouldn't mind playing around with that. So what I might do is I might create a future video with 2.0 again that goes through that. And then at the end of the video, stay tuned because I want to show you a lot of fun tests I was doing with 8. Right now, we're going to go into the system that was just set up in the video that you just saw there. So let's go for it. And I have the sound enabled too for the video, so I will S up, I guess, or I guess whatever it's called. There we go. There's the sounds fully working. And to even show it in here, let's go to the Windows 3.1 one here as well. So you can see the sound working successfully there too. Ta-ta! So there we go. Okay, so there's not too much I want to show in 2.1 because 2.1 is the same as 2.0 except you just get Windows 3.1, and these videos aren't focusing on Windows 3.1. Guess what? They're focusing on OS 2, so we're not going to go through the 3.1 stuff in this specific video. And if you want to see all the productivity applications, these, for my knowledge, I guess I could just compare them and see if anything's changed, but I don't know if any of these have changed. These seem like the same programs. Like let's look at the spreadsheet, for example. Where's that spreadsheet? Because the spreadsheet was very uniquely DS. It's the same program. Let's just take a look at the product information here and see. 3.0, I'm guessing that was probably the same version as the other one. It looks so similar. I don't know what the differences are going to be in a spreadsheet program, and I'm not a spreadsheet fanatic. So if you want to if you get these versions installed, take a look and maybe leave in the comments if there is actually substantial changes in spreadsheet 2.0 and spreadsheet 2.1, or technically this is spreadsheet 3.0. So I don't know. I don't know how the version numbers work, because when you get to OS 2.3, these don't even exist in OS 2.3. You don't get all of these programs. Only OS 2.0 and 2.1 do you actually get a majority of these programs, these productivity programs. If you want to get these programs in 3 or N4, you had to get the IBM Works thing, which was IBM's Office suite that was competing with Microsoft Office at the time. So, but yeah, so that's that. I'm trying to think what else I can show in this video. There's not too much extra to show in the video. I guess there's some multimedia stuff. Like, let's see, there's some really cool old videos. Like, here's a macaw. Here's the see, you can get sound in here too, I do believe, because if I reopen it, it should technically, there it is, yeah. Because when what I noticed in OS 2 is that the window opening sound causes applications that also need to detect and use the audio card to just fumble and go, oh, there is no audio card, so I'm not going to give you audio. So the best way to fix that is just when you have it open, just reopen it. And there are issues with some programs, like some media player programs, like I think the MIDI player that's in here. The MIDI player just doesn't like it at all. You have to literally turn off and disable that sound, which is in the sound configuration here, which is pretty simple. Now if I press play, you should now hear glorious, I'm assuming 8-bit sound. Right. So, and there's also a few other videos I believe I think that's part of the bonus pack in in OS 2.3 actually. So I think because OS 2.3 includes Macaw plus a bunch of other new AVIs that they created that are just equally as boring. They're interesting. If you're back in the day and you saw a live video like that, I was pretty cool. But nowadays it's like, yeah, it's not that exciting anymore. But yeah, so the sound control panel actually gives you access to all the sound in that. So so the cool thing is that they actually give alternative open sound effects. Like this is the one that is currently played, right? They have lots of other ones. Zipper. Like there's This is the sound effects of the 80s, eh? Or 90s. Okay. I don't think I hear anything. And looking at my OBS, I don't even see anything happening in OBS. I swear that made a sound before. Whatever. Let's try tonk. Let's try tonk. Yeah, that works. Let's try twip again. Weird. I swear that worked before. Anyways, let's go. Next one. Oh yeah, room shot. Shred. I wonder if that's actually the shred sound effect. Yeah, it is. Okay, it is. It's a shredder sound effect. That's neat that they actually added a literal, like an actual shredder sound effect for the actual, like, the way things were made back in the day, eh? Ratatata. Let's see. That doesn't sound very exciting. Laser. That'd be a cool window closing sound, right? That's another one. It's another closing one. That's the current closing sound, I believe. If we go up to closing, it's probably that, which to some people can be slightly irritating. So that's what we're gonna. That's why I'm looking at these and gonna change them to something that I found a few here that are actually, they're still nice sound effects, but they're not as like those can be kind of abrupt a lot of times, I find. Oh, but no, it has the drums, but no, not the actual, what do you call that? Is that the snare? I can't remember what that last thing is. There's like that, that saucer thing, like, right? That's what they're missing at the end of that. Let's see what this one is. That's quite the sound effect for a window closing, potentially. That's probably a good one for an alarm. That's the loading sound, usually. Ah, yes, that was the one that's the one I like for opening. Yeah, okay. Right. Why would they? What would that? When you like, I guess printer error. Boo! Like the sound effects. Oh man. Right. This does remind me a little bit of the old Mac OS days. You know, the old system days when they had System 6 and System 7, and they came with all these random sound effects. UFC fight. Okay. And then that's the current closing off sound. So now which sound did I have for before? Let me see. I want a good window opening one. That's definitely not. This was the closing one I wanted, right? That was the closing window, or maybe not. Maybe it's good. Yeah, maybe I'll choose that for open. And then let's go to close and find a closing one now. There, let's choose that for close. There, see? Now it's less abrupt. See? I can't remember if that's the exact sound I had before, but maybe when I go into the other systems there, we can take a look and see. But yeah, so that's basically the multimedia system is not too terribly exciting. The sound bites does have a few MIDI files and things like ball game, and there's all the other sound effects you can play. As I said, if you try opening these up with the open sound effect, it will. Oh, it did go. Ah, see, I guess you have to. If you have a shorter sound effect, a shorter opening sound, it'll actually work. It's weird that they have this in here. I guess compared to the songs you get in Windows. And it does work in the background too, so you can just do that, let it play, right? You lose all other sound effects though when you do that, like, you know, everything else works. Oh yeah, and the game section is, they still have Nico. Oh yeah, they have Nico still. So it's only the product. Oh, because I remember I was looking at 3 earlier, right? That's why. 3 they shrunk this down entirely. Like there's barely anything in here in 3. 2.0 and 2.1 are basically the same when it comes to productivity and other stuff. So you're gonna get the same things. I wonder if that actually changed. Let's find out. Oh, were these options there before? It's a register? What does that even do? It does nothing. I'm kind of curious what the register button what it does. I'm curious. If you have finished making your selection, select for. Oh! Isn't that confusing? Instead of using the word apply, they try to be totally different and use the word register. Yay. I don't think they had the settings in 2.0. I think that's new. That does just say 2.0. So, And there's also a few things I did want to bring up in this one too. So if you go to the OS2, I do want to show dual boot stuff, but not in this one. I don't think I want to do dual. I'll do a video with dual booting and how and all that actually functions when you use the same partition without boot manager, because you can do dual boots without the boot manager. Because this isn't, I don't have boot manager installed. Oh, one thing I also found out the other day is if you actually right-click drives, you actually have create partition. And you can actually see the fdisk utility, like before I was always going to the command line and running fdisk pm, or I think it's pm fdisk, one or the other, to open this program up. But the easiest way to open it up is just to go through here. Then you actually get it that way. So anyways, thought I'd bring up those little facts. Now here's something I found that's really handy. So say you want to know how a certain command works, right? Like there's a command here called eautil, for example. What if you want to know what eautil does? It's not anything to do with electronic arts. Not at all. This is for extended attributes. So type in help, enter, and look at that. It brings it up nicely. It's like a man page viewer, but they kind of like I like that. I think that's the idea that IBM was going for, because this page and this whole entire the way they did their documentation is very Unix-like. So I almost feel like it's the direction they were sort of wanting to go. I think was that they were like, because when you type in help instead of man, it brings up a man page type thing, and then yeah. So I think that's the direction they might have been trying to go with it. But I feel like that's a nice ability. So you can even go like VM disk, which I wanted to show in another video as well too, on how to actually create bootable disks, because they have like that DOS from A there. That's actually kind of a neat idea. So I wanted to actually demonstrate this at one point as well. Like there's so many features in OS2 that are just so unique. They don't even exist in Windows NT when that came out. Like Windows NT didn't didn't take everything. I shouldn't say copy. They just re-implemented a lot of what. But I'm not even sure. I hear some parts of NT were based on OS2, but I'm not exactly sure. I know there's been a few commenters last time that had a lot of really good insight, and thank you for those comments. Like those are I didn't know about some of those things. I thought that was really neat. So if you guys have any insight on how NT became developed, like I don't really have much documentation on NT on how it was actually forked off from OS2, so I'm very curious about the history on that. So if anybody has information on where I can look that information up in that, it'd be awesome. But yeah, so this is just, yeah, I'll open up this again, why not? Oh, right, because the other program's open. Yeah, one thing that is notable is that if you are using, only one thing can use the audio at once. So it's like old school Linux type stuff. You could access your old programs. Like this is one way you can see it, but also if you left click and right click on your desktop, you'll get the window list like this, and then you can easily open it back up and then close it off like that. Now if I open up this, I now have sound. Ta-da! There we go. So, yep. Then there's the sound effects. So, yeah. Anyways, but yeah. So that is the OS2 stuff. The OS2 2.1 stuff. At least I can go through is not. It's basically the same as 2.0. There's not too much difference. There's the sound is basically what you get extra in 2.1. Plus it's through Windows 3.1 if you have it installed. You get that as well too. But other than that, there's really nothing too much extra in here. Like the Hob stuff will probably work just as fine. You can probably load up the 2.1 stuff and the 32-bit applications just fine in here as well. Like there's really no reason to use 2.0 and 2.1 unless you really have to, because it's just, for one, it's extremely tedious to get up and running a lot of times. It doesn't support IDE CD-ROM drives very well, or at all. Whereas OS2 Warp 3 actually supports IDE CD-ROM drives if you actually do the install correctly, which I can't wait till I get to that point, because that was a fun thing to get through. Like I saw Michael MDG do a video on OS2 Warp the other day. I think it was like maybe 2 weeks back. I think I saw that, and he did a video on it. And during his OS2 3 install, he didn't select the option in the installer, and I realized, like, oh, he might not have CD-ROM at the end of his install. So, because it's a kind of an awkward, and there's a bug in the OS2 Warp 3 install that I've noticed that I'll be pointing out in the next video when I get to OS2 3. And now, as I said at the end of this video, if you guys are here long enough, I'm going to show the 8. OS2 test 8, because I want to show some stuff that I actually am going to be showing in a future video if people are interested in seeing it. So, okay, so let's go into OS2 test 8 here. I made a mistake in the other, and I had to edit this. I had to edit it out because I actually, when I started it up, it wasn't actually showing the screen. It was all black. So, anyways, so let's try this again with OS2 test 8. So here we go. Let's put that through. Dun 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 and dun dun. There we go. Okay, yeah, with this one, so back in the day, there was things from Windows 3.1 called shell replacements, and which a lot of people tend to use back then, and that's what I want to show in this video as well. But one thing I do want to bring up in this video too is that I was actually playing around with with a lot of the SimCity stuff. So this is the SimCity demo for OS2. It's an OS2 demo. It's on the hobs. You want to check it out. And then these are the SimCity for Windows versions here. To give you an example on the differences of how it looked. Like, this is drastic. So here is how SimCity looked officially running under OS2. I found it was a bit buggy and everything, and there was issues with it. I like that they did this though. This is definitely not in the thing. So I think the best way to go through this would be to load a scenario. That way we get a city at least to look at. Yeah, so here's Dullsville, so you can get an idea on how the graphics are just, and if you try to run this in 8-bit mode, it's just even worse. Like the Windows 3.1 version of SimCity supported 8-bit mode, and it actually was able to have the cars moving and everything. But if you run this demo in 8-bit mode here, this just looks absolutely horrible, because I think OS2 wasn't really good with 16-bit palettes, because I do believe when you run this program normally in Windows 3.1, it'll actually do a whole palette swap. So I think that's what elevates Windows a bit in terms of just gaming in general. There is that it can change out the palettes for the 16-bit color modes. Or not 16-bit, sorry, 16 color modes, where OS2 wasn't able to. Because if you run this, it doesn't work, and like 16 color mode, it's horrible. It doesn't even look good at all. Like, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, this is how it looks here. So let's move into the next one. Let's get out of this. I'm just gonna have sound. If you notice, there's like nothing working. So here's SimCity for Windows. This is a test. The media mapper doesn't work correctly. It's like it's still better than the other one. And you notice the Windows sound started up. And then let's go to select scenario. Is Dullsville here too? Yeah, Dullsville is here, so we can see the same exact Dullsville in two different OSs. Go with these figures, so you can already see the difference in how it looks like. Right? You can just I need to switch the speed here. There, slow. Yeah, see, look at the colors. Like maybe it's just me. Maybe I just prefer the colors in Windows 3.1. Leave in the comments if you prefer 3.1 colors, or if you prefer the colors from OS2. But personally, I grew up with this version of SimCity, and this is the color palette I'm used to. But now the other mode you can actually play this in is, if you did notice in the last screen there's this. This one actually will bring it up in full mode. And what I noticed here, this is how I got the idea of what you're going to see next. Because if you look here, this runs literally in the full screen mode, but there's no program manager. There's nothing. If you go, I don't want to do that. Anyways, control. I was wanting to get the task manager for this going, but I guess you can't easily. Switch to. There you go. Yeah. So nothing. It's so annoying. There you go. But yeah, so let's go select scenario again. Let's go back to Dullsville. And it's recommended in all the OS2 documentation that I read that to run. Oh my goodness! Like, why does it always default to the fastest speed? That's just horrible. Anyways, but yeah, they recommended in the OS2 documentation. They recommend that you run any Windows games in full screen mode like this, rather than in the seamless mode, supposedly. So it's supposedly has better performance and things just work better. So, but yeah, and there is sound, and sounds do work, but there's no helicopter in here. You'd hear the helicopter. You'd hear like a bunch of other. Let's go with which one makes sounds? Maybe earthquake. There's sound effects will work. But I noticed that sounds didn't really work in SimCity for OS2, because I think that version that version was probably made, you know, at a different time. So before we go into here, I want to show one last part here. So we're going to go into command prompts, and then we're going to go to WinOS2 full screen. Wait a minute, this isn't OS. This isn't Windows. Well, it kind of is. This is a shell replacement that I used back in the day that actually IBM created. So if I go here, we go, is there a help op? Yeah, there's help here. I want to see if there's an about there. I don't really look at the about stuff very much here. Oh, yeah, product information. Here, IBM made this. Well, technically an employee at IBM, because IBM allowed employees to build their own things. This is actually quite neat, actually, with the way they did this. Like, it actually feels almost like OS2. It feels basically like this feels more like OS 2.3 Warp. Oh, sorry, OS 2 Warp 3 more than anything, as you can see. So, yeah, so it definitely, like, it works, you know. And you have this in system settings, as you can imagine. If I go device driver install, for example, it'll bring up, you know, the actual system for it. Unlike this one won't, though. This one will actually bring up a page like yeah, you get in OS 2. And then you have all the similar functionalities. You have your prompt, of course, and you even have your templates down here. Oops. And yeah, I don't know why it's weird. I noticed one thing weird about this one here though is that every all the windows, everything just goes in one long line like that. You have to like do that first, like expand the window, and then you have to do the arrange, and then it'll fix itself up in order to see everything. There's not many templates in here either, to be honest. Like, it's pretty bland. Like, I think it's limited in functionality with templates anyways, but if you have to right click as well, like you do in OS2 to create stuff, and you can drop it there now, and now the shredder, which should have been there in the file, I don't know why that's not put there by default. But yeah, so it gives you all the, like, it's really neat and how it works. So but yeah, so this is the basically the workplace shell that I want to do. So now the next thing, no. Now the next thing I want to know, the reason I wanted to go into that was because now let's go into here. Now, see, this is the program manager once. This boots up. Now it looks like I'm just loaded into program manager normally, right? So, ta-da, right? The only thing is if I double click this, it doesn't ask me if I want to exit Windows because it's actually not running as a shell. It's running differently. So these here aren't running as actual shells. They're not running as they're running as the actual program. So if I go settings, it just runs that program. And then if you go to session, you just select the full screen mode, right? So that's what I did with all of these ones. So workplace shell, which I just loaded up a second ago. So it allows me to use all these shell replacements without actually going into the system .ini to update them. And Calmira, I don't know if anybody knows about this in the audience, but this is a shell I used so much back in the day. Because guess what it looks like? It looks like Windows 95. And we have SimCity, of course, here too on the desktop as a shortcut. Right? Like, this is like probably the best Windows 3.1 shell replacement you're ever going to get, because when this interface is now basically de facto, right? The only weird part is that all these are actually minimized windows when they made this. So when you double click My Computer, it will do that. The other ones don't, but this one does. And then if you open up your files like this, you have it. And it does support long file names, as you can see here. So I have OS2 desktop. This is not actually it's not actually from OS2. And then I created I did a few of these to test it out how it would work in that. So, but yeah. But yeah, it's basically like it works very closely to Windows Windows 95 in that. It even has a full Explorer window as well too, so you can see everything here. So yeah, so that's that. And then the funny thing is, if you go to shut down, instead of defaulting to exit Windows, it defaults to quit because it's not a shell. It's just launched in a very interesting way. And then this is another and oh, this is it's neat too that you can WinZip runs very seamlessly as well. So if you have to do zip file management, I haven't found a really good native OS2 zip program, so WinZip works just fine. And this is another shell replacement from back in the day that I don't think anybody really knows of. It's called Wayfarer. This is a really weird manager. So if you click this, like, I don't even know how they got Ninja. I don't think any of this would be allowed today. If someone released any software with, I think that's Michelangelo. Yeah, Michelangelo's the red, right? Yeah. So if anyone released with Michelangelo like this, that's like, well, it's not exactly copied. It's their own interpretation. Or no, that or no, yeah, it is Michelangelo. Yeah, because I was thinking of Raph for a second. I know Raph is orange, right? So, but yeah, but yeah, I don't know if that's going to be. legal or whatever for people to actually be able to do that nowadays. But yeah, so this is like a weird shell replacement that's very unique and not like anything else, but I do like it because it actually, back in the day before I got Calmira, I used this quite a bit, and it does give you a lot of like a customizability. Like if I press this, it'll, oh, it just opens it. I thought it actually played it. Yeah, but yeah, so and it closes everything too, which is kind of annoying, I guess. So, but yeah, so it's interesting. A browser panel, which I think browses a folder. Like I was playing around with this long when I was young. Like you can customize this so much. Like you can customize how all the icons are. Like it's super customizable, like crazy customizable on what they did with it. So. And then you have like click and have lots of examples here, like and then Windows accessories. They did a neat job with this, like showing off how this looks. So you could go to Program Manager through here. But yeah, so anyways, that's the last of the desktop replacements that I wanted to actually go through, and that is OS2 2.1 in a nutshell. So the next video I guess to tackle next is going to be OS2 3, which will actually feature the whole install in the intro and not just a fast forwarded one, because that's only slow during the first 2 disks that you have to pop in for loading it up, and then after that, once it gets the CD-ROM install portion, then it's off to the races, and it goes pretty darn fast. So the next video with OS2 3 is going to be probably a lot more easier for me to do because I don't have to do all this intense editing and of all the things to get the fast forwarding moment working. So hopefully the next video does take a lot less time to produce than this one did. And I'll try. And if you guys are interested in learning more or getting this set up for those desktop replacements or anything else, just let me know in the comments, and I'll create more fun and interesting videos. But until then, hopefully have yourself a good day, and take care.
Ah, crap!
I don't have any document. I do have a lot of software that I can hear. How do I copy that?
Okay, well, you then on the floppy disk that those programs came on.
Some I do, some I don't.
How do you have software without the disks?
Because after I bought the programs, in some cases I thought after I was finished with it, so I tossed it, except for the book.